everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the More Than You See podcast. Today is going to be completely off the cuff. I'm not even going to do the normal intro that I normally do. But if you've never been here before, basically I usually have creative conversations with others, people in the entertainment industry, other creatives about their mental health journeys. I find that talking to others makes me feel better about my own mental health journey, and I love sharing their stories with others. So, if you have never listened before, I encourage you to go back. There is a plethora of episodes on all sorts of different topics for you to dive into. But today is going to be a super random off-the-cuff episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will notice that I do not have my normal background behind me because there is like tons of huge life changes happening for me, which is why I haven't checked in with you guys in a while. And before my life is about to change even more, I really wanted to come on and do a check-in, an update, share what's going on with me mentally and physically, and give some little tips and things that I've been using in order to get through this insane chaotic time that is happening for me and the people in my immediate surroundings. So if you have not seen on Instagram, or if you do not listen to other episodes and you did not know that I am currently, as I record this, 38 weeks and 4 days pregnant, which means I am due in 9 days with a little boy. I am very excited about that. Of course, there is so many conflicting feelings, which is something I want to talk about today. But let me say, first off, obviously, I am very excited for this new chapter to unfold. And this is coming off of my miscarriage that I had last year, which I shared on a previous episode. And so I do truly feel like this is a gift. This is a wonderful blessing. However, it has also been a period of such just personal turmoil and so many things. I also just moved in the last 3 weeks. I moved at the end of August, so not even just barely 3 weeks ago, I moved into a new place that was bigger, that will just be better for this new little babe and my boyfriend and his 2 kids, of transitions happening. And, one of the reasons I had big goals for the end of this season. And so some of those conversations that I was planning, I'm going to fold into next season. But one of the reasons, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about today, was the lack of mental energy and lack of creative space that I've had in my brain has been really interesting to witness. Because I've had so much going on, I have not only have I not really had the time to sit down and do episodes the way that I would like to, and the way that I feel that this community needs and deserves, and as much as, I just love connecting with this community. But I also I felt like I haven't had the mental capacity at all to even figure out what's going on in my own brain. And it has led me to think about meditation and stillness and how we discount the importance of that. We've all heard the saying about don't give up, take a break, or when you're super busy, that's when you need meditation the most. When you don't have time to meditate, that's when you should meditate. We've all heard those sentences or those statements before. And if you haven't, welcome. You're hearing it for the first time. But I don't think I've ever embodied that before as much as I have over the past month. Because not only have I been experiencing this move, as well as continuing to work both my, side jobs, as well as maintain my creative projects and continue to push forward some producing jobs and, all of that kind of stuff. But I'm also like literally creating this human, and that has taken a lot of mental capacity away from me as well. And it's hard sometimes to give myself credit for that. I'm sure other women who have gone through this experience can feel that. So it's really been a lesson in how your body can be overwhelmed and you are forced to take breaks. I've never like experienced that in such a physical sense before as I have being in this last like 6 weeks of my pregnancy. And I want to say like I'm very lucky because it has been actually a very easy pregnancy for me, which honestly is one of the reasons why I've almost felt guilty about that. I felt guilty about the fact that like I haven't had terrible symptoms, that I have been able to maintain my level of fitness and exercise and continuing to push myself forward. And because the norm is that pregnancy is rough. Like oftentimes we don't hear the narratives very often about people who are feeling sexy and empowered and stronger and like the best they ever felt was when they were pregnant. Like we don't hear about those stories. We hear instead about women suffering and the awful parts about pregnancy. And I will say, I feel like the symptoms and the things that are often discussed or that are often stereotyped on film and television and in conversations and on TikTok and in blogs and blah, 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 are often things that are based on fear mongering and that are actually not helpful for women and other people who might be going through these similar body symptoms. And so I have felt almost, and this is like, this is myself, this is self censorship, but I have almost felt like I don't deserve to share how my pregnancy has been going because it has been really enjoyable for me. And as I'm sharing this, like that makes me a little sad, but it is just the reality of the situation. I was sharing the other day in my couples therapy with my partner about how I wish, like a part of me wishes that I would have been doing like prenatal yoga and doing prenatal massage and all of these things that you see on film and TV and like you see on influencers doing, like the influencer mommy people. And my boyfriend reminded me, he was like, yeah, but Deborah, you've been feeling really good. So like you haven't necessarily needed to like go get a massage because you have terrible back pain and can't walk. And I'm like, oh, that's true. Like there's such a like it's so interesting that like at the same time I feel very grateful for how I feel during my pregnancy and also very like I'm missing out because it hasn't been this really challenging experience. And even at the end, where I'm at right now, like there's so many, blogs and stuff that I'm reading where it's like women are at my, 38 and a half weeks or 39 or 40 or whatever, and they're like cannot wait for this baby to be out of my body. I'm just like feeling those feelings, and I don't feel that way. I also still have so much going on that I'm like, please stay in as long as possible, baby, so that I can continue to settle into this home and do the things that I need to do before the baby comes. Like I certainly have that feeling. However, I guess I will also remind myself that part of the reason that I'm seeing the like get this baby out of my body posts is because misery loves company and people love to talk about the negatives of things and don't sometimes feel guilty, like I've felt guilty, maybe I'm just projecting, about the positives and the the good aspects of bringing new life into the world. So that's kind of where I've been at mentally. And I just started seeing a new therapist a week ago, and I wanted to share a little exercise that she gave to me, which I thought was really fascinating, and I thought that it was such a just like a good reset for myself, so I wanted to share it with you all. So basically, we like had our hour conversation, we were talking about all sorts of different things. And then she said, "Okay, this is how I like to end sessions sometimes." She's like, "Take out your phone, look at the last text message that you got, that you received, not that you sent, and read it aloud." And it was actually from my friend, an assistant and amazing editor of this podcast, Katra. And she was sharing a work update. And so I read this sentence out loud, and she said, "Okay, that's your writing prompt for the next 2 minutes. Go." And started a timer. And it was very interesting because it was about this work thing. And it was like a very practical message. I don't remember what it was anymore, but it was a very practical message. Like Katra was asking for clarification on something. And what I took away from that and what I started writing about was my brain and body's ability to switch from a place of focus on a conversation with another person and then be able to switch my brain immediately into a work mode where I'm able to now help my colleague out on their task, and how grateful I am for my brain to be able to do that switch so quickly. And reflecting upon that, we talked about this writing exercise afterwards, and I was saying how much appreciation I have for myself in being able to make that switch, and how I don't want to lose that with the baby, and just how we are in a society now where that is considered such an asset. And again, I'm very grateful for the fact that I can switch so much between my work self and my creative self and my, parenting self, and like all of the different identities that I identify with. I am someone who I can switch between those things very quickly. And I know that that is an asset for myself. But it was interesting to lead that a like seemingly pointless text message conversation led to something greater about my own self-worth and my concerns about the future and all of those sorts of things. And so the reason I brought this up and the reason I wanted to like bring this, to everyone is that I think there's such a benefit sometimes in looking at things deeper and thinking about how everything that is around us, everything like the conversations that we have, even like the apparently meaningless text message conversations or news that we read, like all of those sorts of things all impact us and impact our consciousness and our daily lives. And we are constantly being inundated with news and opinions from other people and negative conversations, and even the things that we don't think are affecting us do have the ability to affect us and make us think about something deeper or spiral. And I think that that's, part of what mental health and, self-realization is all about, is the fact that, and our self-awareness is that, really tracking these moments in our day and how they make us feel, and potentially the importance of taking space and taking a step back and allowing us to relax and detach from the outside world and just like focus on our inner selves. And that maybe sometimes we need something like a random text message that we then decide to write about for 2 minutes that will lead us to a greater understanding of ourselves. And as I enter this new phase of being a birth mom and having to give more of myself to someone else, and I think that this relates to all of us when we are entering a new job, when we're entering a new opportunity, when we're entering a new relationship, when we're any kind of like new portal that we are going through. I think that it's so important to do these check-ins with ourselves and think about how the energy of others or the situation or whatever is affecting us, and just remind ourselves that at our core, we are our own North Star. And it's important to really just like be mindful of that. Again, I know that this episode was a little bit all over the place, but I feel like my life and my brain has been kind of all over the place right now. It has just been so scattered, and this is the first moment that I have felt like I can have any kind of cohesive thoughts that will bring any kind of like just like peace and meaning to all of the chaos that is happening, both for me, but also for our country, for the industry, like for so many things. So I hope that my rambles brings you some moments of clarity or an idea or some way that you want to honor your own mental space right now, because I think that that is so incredibly valuable. I'm going to remind you and myself that everyone around us is going through all sorts of different things, and we're all more than you see, and that is what makes up the tapestry of this world, and how wonderful that part of the world is, that we are all so different and we all bring so many different conversations and perspectives into conversations or into experiences. And I will be taking a podcast hiatus. However, as the chaos settles around me in the house and being more in this space, I'm excited to share more about my parenting journey and the balancing and the, just like all of what is to come. I'll be sharing more of that on Instagram and on TikTok, so please follow those spaces if you don't already. But in the meantime, I just want you all to know that I am here for you all, and I so appreciate this community, and I'm excited to continue to open up and share about my experience and the experience of other creatives as I continue to have conversations in future podcasts, because this is just a hiatus. It is not going away. And I'm excited for this podcast to continue to grow in the seasons to come. Thank you for being a part of this. Please share this episode or a past episode with someone who it might resonate with. Please do the subscribe, and the review, and all of the things. It really does help spread the word of mouth. And I really appreciate you all. So until we speak again, please be kind to yourself, and I will see you hopefully very soon.